We're here with Eddy Butler outside Dagenham Civic Centre. Dagenham is an area of London where the BNP has had some spectacular election results over the years. Eddy, tell me what you think of the party's current election strategy.
Well, it seems to me it's more of a strategy based on appeals and a fundraising appeal than it is on a genuine election strategy. It's based around buying computer equipment, software, telephones, equipping offices at the other end of the country, when we frankly we're never going to have the funds available for that this year anyway, because all our money is going on stupid legal cases that we should never have entered into in the first place. It is quite literally putting the cart before the horse.
Where did the idea come from, do you think?
Well, it's apparent that it came from someone finding, believe it or not, it came from someone finding a few-minute long video on YouTube, put on there by Labour, as if we're going to find out their secret strategy in that manner. It's actually slightly laughable. But Labour have a system in place where they have a big central database of all their supporters, potential voters and so forth. But frankly, Labour have got hundreds of thousands of members. They've got hundreds and hundreds of thousands more union members. They've got well-organised branches in most of their good areas of the country with professional offices. They've got big canvas returns for all those areas. They've got masses, they've got millions of items of data to input. So in every single ward in the country, they've got hundreds of names, particularly in their good wards, hundreds of names already, because they've got the troops on the ground to put that data into place in the first place. We haven't got the troops on the ground.
So what would your prescription be, Eddy?
Well, at the moment, most of our branches don't canvass. Nearly all of our branches don't canvass in any sort of systematic way. Most of our branches don't visit their local members regularly, and most of our branches have got poor computer skills, with too few people doing the jobs, volunteering to do the jobs. You're a voluntary party, obviously, and until we bring up our performance on a local level, we've got no chance at all of implementing this. It's actually zero chance of implementing it. We need to put our resources, we've got limited resources. Instead of putting it into useless computer systems we can't use yet and they'll be of no use to us, we've got to put it into developing our groups and our branches and improving our local performance. That is our front line. We've got to improve our front line activities and build local skill sets. That's why I advocate we've got to get regional support officers. We've got to have a salaried, dedicated national elections officer. For example, another thing, we haven't had a summer school for 2 years, and the last summer school had no proper election training. There hasn't been proper election training for 3 years, and that's partly very much because Nick Griffin actually, believe it or not, doesn't take elections seriously. He thinks they're boring. He thought it was too boring at the last summer school, to include election training. He thought all our activists would be bored by it. This is the most important thing we'd ever teach people. The fact that he's never employed a full-time national elections officer in all his time as chairman. The fact that when we did rather poorly in Barking and Dagenham in the elections, he turned around to the cameras and said London is finished and we've got to turn ourselves away from elections and into a civil rights movement. You know, I could go on and on, but I'll emphasise it is through local organisation, building our local organisation, applying the tactics that we have already developed, but applying them regularly in hundreds of places around the country, which is why we need regional support officers and a dedicated national elections officer. Until we do it, there's no point in buying software and computers with no data to input, because those systems are driven by information. We need the canvassers out there building that. It's going to take a few years to build that local infrastructure, a few solid years' work to build that infrastructure, during which time these computers are sitting there waste of time and money. And whenever we fight the enemy in set-piece actions, at the moment they will always outperform us. It's not due to marketing and Blue State Digital suddenly. This has always been the case. You go back since we won our first election, this has always been the case. It's nothing to do with marketing, it's because they can outperform us. They've got the big battalions. We've got to be able to mount good, high quality local campaigns in hundreds of places across the country. It's a bit like lots of bushfires, like a guerrilla army setting up lots of bushfires around the country that the opposition just can't stamp out, because the way it is at the moment, we do it in too few locations and they can bring overwhelming force to bear upon us and crush us down. Even in our best areas they can do that to us now. That's why we've got to improve our local performance. If we don't do that, we're never going to get anywhere.
Thank you, Eddy.